Welcome back, Typethis here. Today is something a little bit different. Recently I've been playing Final Fantasy IX a bit, in particular the Chocobo Hot and Cold minigame. For those of you who aren't familiar with it, this is one of the larger minigame slash side quests in Final Fantasy IX. So what happens in the game is this. Mene, the Moogle attendant, charges you for the privilege of running around an area for a minute to dig for treasure. You get points based on what you dig up and which of the 3 locations you're digging in. The points can then be traded in for various prizes. If you manage to find 4 items in the time frame, Mene will give you double points from then on and you get an extra 10 seconds to find stuff. Then, if you manage to find another 4 items, Mene will charge up to you and say the following. The question is Mene really making a loss or is he just being a mercantile Moogle? There are 3 main things that I'll look at today. 1. How many points can one reliably score in a single game of Hot and Cold? 2. How many games would it then take to earn enough points to get the various prizes? And finally, how much would it theoretically cost Mene to stock the various prizes? First up, what sort of score can be reliably achieved in a single game? Which of the 3 locations is also best to dig at? The 3 locations each have a different score multiplier for what each item is, and also a different bonus for when you collect all 8 items. The forest has a 1 times bonus, the lagoon gives you double points, whilst the air garden has a 3 times multiplier on all items dug up. However, the air garden is awkward to traverse with 2 separate islands and items spawning randomly on each of the islands. Traversing between the 2 islands takes a lot of time and is rather annoying when items spawn on each of the different islands. The forest also has 2 raised sections that can waste time when riding up and down to reach the 2. Thus, the lagoon is easily the best location, as it's pretty much a big circle and easy to go around in. So I did a bunch of runs in the lagoon, and these are the figures that I came up with. Now, I wasn't able to reach the 8 item limit in all the runs I did, but I was getting 7 items per run very consistently. The average score without item bonus was essentially 27 points, but with the 8 item bonus it jumps up to 49 points per run. These figures are only a guide. Some people will be able to get the 8 items far more readily than me, whilst others may struggle to get 4 items in a run. I was using the Golden Chocobo here, which has the fastest dig speed, but the lowest time bonus points. All the chocographs have already been collected, so there are no additional bonus points from those. Here we can see the various prizes that Mene has to offer, from the Geisel Greens to the Robe of Lords, and how many points it takes to buy each one. The top figure includes the games where the 8 item bonus has been gained, and the bottom figures assume that no bonuses have been acquired, a sort of better case scenario for Mene. We can see how many games it would take to rack up enough points to purchase each of the items Mene has on offer. The top figure includes getting the 8 item bonus, whilst the bottom figure assumes that no bonuses were scored, just for comparison's sake. For instance, the Geisel Greens could be easily acquired after just 1 game, whilst it would take between 200 and 379 games to get the Robe of Lords. That's over 4 straight hours of playing Chocobo Hot and Cold. So now we just need to work out how much it would cost Mene to stock the various prizes. Figures are based on how much it costs for the player to purchase the items through various shops and vendors and through synthesis. Mene sells Geisel Greens for 80 gil, so he would be making a bit less profit or a bit of a loss if he trades with the greens for points. Phoenix Downs cost 150 gil and can be purchased from pretty much every vendor in Final Fantasy IX, so Mene would be making somewhere between 30 and 80 gil profit here. Ethers can be synthesized in Disc 4. The cost of all the components and synthesis comes out to be 650 gil. If the player never hits the 8 item bonus, then Mene is looking at about 350 gil profit. Otherwise, he will be losing at about 100 gil. The Protect ring is another synthesis item. This one's cost is a little bit variable, as one of its components, the dark matter, is purchased at the Treno auction house. Even ignoring the variable cost of the dark matter, the Protect ring will cost at least 53,000 gil, nearly 30 to 40,000 gil more than what Mene is likely to earn through players playing the hot and cold games. The Robe of Lords is even worse for poor Mene. Once all the stages of the synthesis items have been tallied up, the total cost of one robe comes in just shy of 70,000 gil. When the Moogle is only earning between 12 to 22,000 gil on the item, that is a pretty hefty loss for him. The rest of the items, the Oars, Wing Edge and Viltigence cards, can't really be priced. With the exception of a few low-level cards, the Tetramaster cards cannot be bought or sold in Final Fantasy IX, so assigning them a monetary value is meaningless. The Wing Edge cannot be bought and has a sale price of 1 gil, so the purchase price is unknown. Likewise, the Oar cannot be bought from shops and also has a low sell price. It's worth noting that all the synthesis items listed above can only be synthesized at Hades in Disc 4, and only once he's been beaten. Also, all the base components for the Robe of Lords can be purchased from Kumul's Mog Shop in Ipsen's Castle. But, even if Mene got mates rates from Kumul, the cost of the synthesis of the items far outstrips what he would make in the hot and cold games. So, in conclusion, Mene is right to worry about going out of business if the player keeps at the treasure digging. He can make a small profit on the cheap items, but will lose heavily on the more expensive items. Perhaps he hopes that the player will forget about the hot and cold games once they have all the chocographs, and never bother to save up for the Protect ring or Robe of Lords. And let's be honest, I doubt many players would bother saving up for those items. I hope you've enjoyed this slightly different video, and let me know if you like what you saw here. Until next time, type this out!